What's up everyone, it's your girl Shay here and welcome to my channel if you are new, and welcome back to my channel if you have been here before. As you can see by the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about shows that I think deserve a prequel, or that I would love to see a prequel made about. So I came up with this video idea based off of a TikToker by the name of Ohio Kage. I will link, his channel and his video down below. I came across his TikTok where he went and talked about shows that he feels like deserve a prequel, and it got me wondering what shows I've watched or seen that I would enjoy watching a prequel of. So I went and thought of different shows, like I said, that I enjoyed, and I made a list of 5 shows that I feel like a prequel would be greatly would be received well if they made one, right? Also, just to preface this really quick, just in case there is any noise in the background, I do have 2 cats, and sometimes when I'm recording, they decide that's a great time to be able to start playing with their noisiest toys. So if you hear them, that is why. So yes, I have it written all here on my phone as far as what shows that I would love to get a prequel. So definitely enjoy. So I chose 5 different shows. So the first show I have on this list is Attack on Titan. So I chose Attack on Titan because I feel like it would be really cool to see what life was like before the Titans show up. When we got into Attack on Titan, was introduced to this world. We didn't know as a viewer about Titans, but our characters obviously knew about Titans. They knew how they could be defeated. They knew that they were already protected because they had the walls up. But I would love to see what it was like before the walls went up. I would love to know more about how they learned how they could defeat these Titans. What was life like? How was all of their gear made? I just would be so interested to see how they handled all that, because I feel like that would have a lot of action involved, because you would have to see these characters' thought process, right? You would have to see them work through these issues that they are having with these Titans. And I just feel like it would be a great prequel to watch and to be able to see, again, what life was like before the Titans show up, or when the Titans showed up initially and how the characters dealt with that. The second show I have on this list is Sailor Moon. So I wasn't for sure about putting Sailor Moon on this list because I had to think of how a prequel would actually work. But then I remembered that there were episodes in Sailor Moon where they talked about Usagi's background, or Serena's background, and how, her living in the palace, and Queen Serenity, and then the Sailor Scouts, how they were all princesses of their respective, planets, and how they, later on, it was revealed that they had their loves of Jedi and Zoisite, and you realize that they were a part of, Momoru's or, Darian's generals, right? So I think a prequel would be about Usagi and Momoru, how they met, Queen Serenity and her ruling, Queen Beryl coming and ruining all of that, getting more into the Sailor Scouts and their love lives with Momoru's generals. I just think that would be really interesting to watch, because I already have a connection with all of these characters, but I also want to know more. I want to know how these things got started. We already have the story about them being on Earth and them coming upon each other again in these new lives and everything else, and them having to defeat Queen Beryl and other villains as well. But I want to know how it all got started. I would love to know more about the backgrounds of these characters and just, again, how everything began. Third show I have on this list is Kuroko's Basketball. I love Kuroko's Basketball so much. It's one of my favorite sports shows. And while we already see Kuroko playing in high school for Sarian, I believe is the name of the team that he plays on, and you meet all of the other, as they're called, the Generation of Miracles. You meet all the rest of the basketball players, and they're all on separate high school teams. But then you learn that they all played together in the middle school, and they were undefeated. They were just such a brute force in basketball, with Kuroko being the 6th man on the team, the invisible 6th man. So I would love to see a prequel of them in middle school, of all of Generation of Miracles playing on the same team. What was it like, right? What was it like when they honed in on all their basketball skills? What was it like seeing Akashi, the person who was the leader, the general, being able to basically put his troops I just hit myself, all his troops out on the court, right? What was that like? You know, what made them decide to all go their separate ways and go to different high schools instead of them going to the same high school together to be infamous again on the court? And what was Kuroku like? Right? It doesn't even, and even the prequel doesn't even have to follow Kuroku. It could follow a different generation of miracles, right? It could follow Akashi, honestly, as the general and how he became like the cocky, you know, character that he is, or that he was. I do know that we obviously saw them all play together in the Kuroko's basketball movie, but I would love to see what they were like in middle school. Let me know what you guys think about that. Fourth one I have on this list is another sports one, and it's Prince of Tennis. I chose this one because of the fact that when we first meet our main characters in Prince of Tennis, we meet Ryoma. But we also find out that Ryoma's dad was also like a tennis prodigy. I want to know more about him. I want to know what he was like playing tennis. I want to see who he went up against. I want to see his rival. I want to see like what his like challenges were, what he had to go through. And I want to see that leading all the way up to Ryoma being born and then deciding to come back to Japan, because I believe they say they were in the US and everything, right? So honestly, I would love that. I want to know more about Ryoma's dad because he was a tennis prodigy too, so I want to know what it was like for him. And the last show I have on this list is kind of no surprise, but maybe it is, and it's Solo Leveling. I chose Solo Leveling because kind of similar to Attack on Titan, I want to see what happened when Gates first started appearing and when people started to first become awakened beings. I want to know what that was like for all the respective countries, right? We obviously were already in Korea, but I want to know what it was like in Korea, obviously, when people started to become awakened and Gates were happening, but also the politicalness of like talking with other countries of like, how do we deal with this, right? In Korea, how they came up with certain regulations, right? Like how many people can go into a gate, what classifies someone as being S class or to being an E rank, or sorry, S rank to an E rank, right? I want to see how that all these mechanisms were made, right? I want to know more about President Go because I believe that's his name. If I got it wrong, let me know. I'm like halfway through I'm caught up with where the manga is according to the anime, but I'm not finished with the manhwa. Just want to throw that out there. But I want to know more about him. I want to know more about how he became a hunter, what it was like for him, how he rose to become president of the association, right? I would love to see that prequel because I feel like there's a whole nother story there, right? Because we know that Gates appeared, we know people became awakened beings, but I want to know what how did things change with that, right? Because obviously society has to change, right? Because society was just like regular people, and then one day you wake up and you have these abilities and you have these gates opening with monsters. I want to know more. I want to see what that was like. But yeah, those are the 5 shows that I feel like deserve a prequel to. I feel like I definitely could do a part 2 because there's so many shows out there that kind of have that same sentiment of where like I want to know what it was like before all this happened, and I want to know what the fallout was when things started to happen, right? And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Check out Ohio Kage's TikTok video as well to see what shows he chose. I think I might have chosen maybe 1 or 2 similar to the ones that he chose, only because they definitely made sense and it made me interested. So yeah, let me know. Also commenting below what shows you think deserve a prequel, and I would love to read those because anime is such an amazing genre, and I feel like prequels can definitely work for some of these shows. But yeah, that's what I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have links down below to all my social media accounts, my Instagram, my Twitter, even though I don't really post on there as much anymore. I have my Threads and my Blue Sky, which I do post on as well. I think I already said like my TikTok also. I have been posting and stuff on there. And then yeah, if you guys would give a thumbs up, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys soon with a new video. Like I always tell you guys, stay positive, stay nerdy in today's day and age, definitely stay healthy, and of course please stay safe. All right, you guys, bye.